Welcome back, guys, to my countdown of my top 100 movies of the decade. We're officially at the halfway point. 50 movies down, only 50 to go. Big thank you to all of you that have been watching and getting involved in the comments section. I love hearing from you guys, so please do keep continuing to share your thoughts and opinions as we count down to number 1. Remember to click that like button, hit subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming content, and you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. All the information is in the video description down below. Right, let's get back to the countdown. In this video, I'll be looking at the films that place between positions 50 and 41. Right, so kicking off the second half of this countdown, coming in at number 50, we have the first entry from director Greta Gerwig. It's her star-studded adaptation of Louisa May Alcott's classic novel, Little Women. I think it's remarkable that Greta Gerwig has taken a novel from the 19th century and made it feel contemporary and relatable without sacrificing the period aesthetic. There's an energy and a joyfulness to Greta Gerwig's work. Little Women feels alive. I just remember watching this film in the cinema and I had this permanent gawky grin on my face all the way through. I absolutely loved every second of this film. Every actor fits their role like a glove. There is not a single weak performance here. The costumes are phenomenal. They perfectly capture the personality of the characters that they rest upon. The characters are complex, it's funny, it's moving. For those of you that say that period films are boring, to you I say hogwash. Little Women is an absolute joy. Give it a watch. If it doesn't affect you, then you don't have a soul. Okay, so next up we have a movie about the making of the best worst movie ever made. It's James Franco's The Disaster Artist. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. This decade, I finally got around to watching Tommy Wiseau's infamous cult classic, The Room, and that was a treat all by itself, but James Franco's passion project, The Disaster Artist, which tells the story of how The Room came together with James Franco starring as Tommy Wiseau himself, turned out to be one of the most inspiring and funniest films of the last 10 years. I have some crazy dreams myself, and it's so nice to see a film with a character who's just as delusional as myself, setting out to try and achieve his goals. The universe just doesn't hand you opportunities. You have to go out there and make your own. And that's what Tommy Wiseau did. This movie teaches you never be afraid to fall flat on your face. And failing at something doesn't make you a failure. And if you're passionate about something, then baby, share it with the world. The Disaster Artist is loving, it's ridiculous, it's hysterical, at times it's genuinely sad, but this film never fails to cheer me up. It's a movie for the fools who dare to dream. Alright, so next up we have the 8th feature film from director Wes Anderson. It's the deliciously entertaining The Grand Budapest Hotel. This 1930s comedic caper is such a jolly good romp. Starring Ray Fiennes as hotel owner Gustav, this is a story within a story of how the world-renowned Grand Budapest Hotel came to be owned by Gustav's trusted lobby boy Zero, who's played by Tony Revolori. The Grand Budapest Hotel is probably my favorite Wes Anderson film, period. It's irresistibly shot. The art direction and production design is so inviting. The pastel-colored palette makes this film look good enough to eat. Every single shot is meticulously thought out with great detail. It's like stepping inside a life-size dollhouse. The performances are stellar, particularly Ray Fiennes, who surprised the world with his eccentric turn as Gustav. He's also a very quotable character as well.
You're looking so well, darling, you really are. I don't know what sort of cream they've put on you down at the morgue, but I want some.
Take your hands off my lobby boy!
She's been murdered, and you think I did it.
It's so witty. Anderson's writing, married together with his precise direction, give the viewer that feeling of being whisked away in a story. The style of the film feels distinctly Anderson. Chapter headings, whip pans, miniatures, symmetric shots, a deadpan delivery. And he cleverly uses 3 different aspect ratios to inform us of what time period we're in. The Grand Budapest Hotel is endlessly rewatchable, and it's a film which I think will age really well because it's a film which looks like it could have been made in any decade. If someone told you this film was made in the 1940s, you'd believe them. If someone told you it was made in the early 2000s, you'd believe them. It belongs to no decade. It really feels timeless. This film is colourful, daft, playful. It's got a jaunty score from Alexander Desplat, and it's a film which you can just get lost in. Alright, so next up at number 47, we have a film that combines the hyper-articulate dialogue of Aaron Sorkin with the seductive filmmaking of David Fincher. It's The Social Network. Sure, Facebook might not be as zeitgeisty as it was back in 2010, but the film about the origins of Facebook is one of the defining films of the 10s. Jesse Eisenberg stars as Mark Zuckerberg, the Harvard dropout who created the social media platform, which completely revolutionized the world of communication, connectivity, and social media that we know today. It also made him the youngest self-made billionaire in the world at the time. Eat your heart out, Kylie Jenner. The story about modern times couldn't be more classic, with prescient themes such as friendship, loyalty, narcissism, ego, drive, class, jealousy, and power. It's Shakespeare in the age of privacy, cybersecurity, and misinformation. It's gorgeously shot by Fincher, and Sorkin's dialogue gives the film a rapid pace, which echoes how fast Facebook grew. It's well acted, and it launched the careers of Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, and Armie Hammer. And in my opinion, The Social Network should have been the film that won Best Picture that year at the Oscars. Sorry, King's Speech, I've got nothing against you, but really, The Social Network has aged better, and it completely summarizes an entire decade. And I've just noticed The Social Network is above the King's Speech. It's rather fitting, isn't it? What a happy little coincidence. Alright, so moving on, next up we have a delightful whodunit from writer-director Rian Johnson. It's Knives Out. This old school yet modern murder mystery was the surprise smash hit of 2019. In a decade dominated by franchises, sequels, and cinematic universes, it's so nice to see a standalone original film be a runaway hit at the box office. Rian Johnson's subversive, star-studded love letter to the Agatha Christie genre is such a treat. Daniel Craig stars as Benoit Blanc, a PI brought in to investigate the death of crime novelist Harlan Thrombey, who's played by Christopher Plummer. It looks like suicide, but Benoit suspects foul play, and what unspools is a rich web of deceit, secrets, lies, and murderous motives. Knives Out is expertly shot and edited. Every character is a cog in the grand design, and Rian Johnson's script is so slick. The entire film runs like clockwork. It's so well thought out. There's loads of detail and clues hidden in each scene, which makes it even more joyful to watch on multiple viewings. Plus, this film has hands down the best monologue about donuts in the history of cinema. That's quite a bragging right. Alright, so coming in at number 45, we have a psychological thriller from Darren Aronofsky, Black Swan. Natalie Portman stars as Nina, a prima ballerina who lands the coveted dual role of both the White and Black Swan in her company's production of Swan Lake. The film is a gripping and twisted cautionary tale of striving for perfection, as well as a scathing commentary on the unrealistic expectations of women in general through the dichotomy of the two Swan roles. Nina is expected to be pure, innocent, and idealistic as the White Swan, while simultaneously embodying the darker, sultry, seductive, mysterious traits of the Black Swan. With the pressure mounting from an overbearing mother as well as other dancers seemingly out to steal her part, the paranoia, delusion, and madness start to take their toll on Nina, and by extension, the viewer as well. Aronofsky succeeds in sucking you into the psychosis of Nina. You feel the hysteria from every which way. And Natalie Portman gives a world-class performance as Nina. It's truly unforgettable. Black Swan is a fever dream and nightmare of a film. It's exquisitely directed and performed, but few films truly capture beauty and ugliness as magnificently as Black Swan does. Alright, so next up at number 44, we have an action film that completely rejuvenated Keanu Reeves' career. It's Chad Stahelski's John Wick. This is another film where I didn't expect much from it going in. Ex-hitman John Wick gets mad at some guys because they killed his dog, seeks revenge. Pretty basic plot, but executed with panache. John Wick takes its simple premise, but runs with it with the most stylistic and zestful flair. The whole movie is one glorious action set piece after another. Each one beautifully choreographed, shot in lots of wides, few cuts, and the cinematography is both sleek and striking. This is action done right. Brutal, visceral, and engaging. You know it's effective when other filmmakers start copying you. Like, so many people have tried to replicate the action style of John Wick since it came out, but I don't think anyone has topped what Chad Stahelski has done with the John Wick franchise. Alright, so next up we have my favourite of all the Captain America solo movies. It's Captain America Civil War. Before Infinity War and Endgame happened, the Russo brothers really stepped up their game with Civil War. Not only is it an exhilarating action movie, but the film's plot is really smart. It presents a realistic and riveting argument for the audience to wrestle with. The question being, should superheroes be regulated by the government and be held accountable for their actions? The film presents two very different opinions through the points of view of Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. Tony Stark believes that they should be kept in check, however Steve Steve Rogers believes that at the end of the day, the fate of the world is in their hands, so they shouldn't be held back by government restrictions. I've had actual arguments with my friends over who we think is right, and that's the great thing about Civil War, is that you can kind of see both perspectives and it's not clear as to who is right. I love movies that get you thinking and debating, and that's why Civil War has so much more substance than most comic book movies. The rift between Captain America and Iron Man amplifies the emotional stakes, and it makes the conflict of the film feel so much closer to home. Yes, there's a baddie in this film, but when our heroes are fighting each other, that's just really good drama. Plus, there is some iconic moments in this film, including Spider-Man's introduction, Captain America's biceps becoming a meme, and of course, who can forget the iconic airport battle sequence amongst our divided Avengers. Now that's entertainment. Alright, so next up at number 42, we have another film from David Fincher. It's the suspenseful thriller Gone Girl. Adapted from the novel by Gillian Flynn by none other than Flynn herself, Gone Girl tells the messed up story of a messed up married couple called Nick and Amy Dunn, played in this film by Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike. On the day of their 5th wedding anniversary, Amy mysteriously vanishes and Nick becomes the prime suspect in her disappearance. What follows is a gripping, darkly funny, at times disturbing puzzler which will have you on the edge of your seat. This is superb filmmaking. Fincher managed to make a 2.5-hour film feel so taut and swift. It shifts seamlessly from a media circus witch hunt to a domesticated, pitch-black comedy.
Yes, I loved you, and then all we did was resent each other and try to control each other and cause each other pain.
That's marriage.
The performances are stellar, particularly from Rosamund Pike, who disappears into the role of complex, psychopathic Amy. Honestly, it's one of the most memorable female performances of the last decade. Gone Girl is an atmospheric, slow-burn thriller which has a lot to say about the role of the media, the institution of marriage, and an image-obsessed society. The word that always pops into my head when I think about this film is cutthroat. And at number 41, we have a kitchen sink drama from director Ken Loach. It's his Palme d'Or winning I, Daniel Blake. As an auteur, Ken Loach has developed a reputation as the people's champion. His films often see an everyman trying to get by but getting tangled up in the system. In this case, it's the titular 59-year-old character Daniel Blake, who's played by Dave Johns, who is trying to sign up to receive employment and support allowance but has to jump through a never-ending set of bureaucratic hoops, all of which feel vindictively designed to prevent anyone receiving government support. Daniel strikes up an unlikely friendship with single mother Katie, who's played by Hayley Squires, who is also struggling to make ends meet. The characters in this film feel so authentic. They're just common, everyday people who have it rough and are trying to get by. They have to wade through so much red tape in order to survive, but that red tape is what's strangling them. I had so much empathy for these characters. There was one scene in particular where I really felt Katie's hardship. She's in a food bank and she almost passes out from starvation and has a little breakdown. She's been starving herself in order to feed her own children. The whole scene is heartbreaking. Ken Loach is such a social justice warrior because this film really shines a light on how the Tory government, who claim to care for all their citizens, are making it as difficult as possible for the most vulnerable in society to get the help that they need. I, Daniel Blake is a tender, funny, and devastatingly Kafka-esque drama. While modest in execution, it feels urgent, raw, and quietly powerful. There we go, guys. That was my countdown from numbers 50 to 41. If you guys liked the vid, hit the like button. If you haven't done so already and don't want to miss any upcoming content, don't forget to click subscribe. And of course, I want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of the films that made it into this video? Whatever your thoughts are, be sure to let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I shall see you guys in the next one.